Boom.
We're back.
And we're back. Feels like a long time since we caught up in general. I know we spoke earlier.
Well,
but
we've
apart
both
from that,
had a funny couple last week, so
yeah, we have. Yeah. Do you
personal
want to?
stuff always
Would you
tends
like?
to get in the way. So
Would you like to tell the people what's been going on? Would you rather not?
no, we'll just leave it at we've both had things that we're dealing with.
I like it.
And
like
it's getting in the way of well, for me it's getting in the way of my enjoyment of just existing at the minute. So
Sure. Sure.
I'm struggling,
And
but we're getting there.
I would say my issues aren't as severe as Jay's.
No, you
but,
just got a lot to deal with still.
Yeah, just time.
Yeah, more time. I think I've got all the time in the world, but I can't enjoy it. You've got no time, and you also can't enjoy it. So I think if we could switch, you'd probably be happier, to be honest. Just because you get the time to sort stuff out,
It's a dangerous game, that, right?
It is a dangerous game.
It's a dangerous game.
Oh yeah, okay.
Is that one of your favourite films too, Jay? Or
what, the original or the newer one?
The Lindsay Lohan one.
I like them both, honestly.
Okay.
I think I saw the Lindsay Lohan one first, and then I saw the original was on TV one day. I was like, oh, I'll check this out.
Is it quite good, the original, still?
Yes, what's her face?
Go
on. Give me a sec. No. Hannibal. Silence of the Lambs. The female. No, the
Jodie Foster.
There we go, Jodie Foster. There we go.
Jodie Foster.
What else has she been in? I always forget.
Oh, bro, loads.
I know, but yeah, I'm pretty. Oh, she was in Bugsy Malone as well, wasn't she?
Is she the kid?
I want to say Bugsy Malone and Freaky Friday were like right around the same time because I think she looked fairly similar. One was definitely after the other, but
is that half of where Post Malone's name came from?
Bugsy Malone? Probably.
Because that's what, like, when I heard Post Malone, I was like, what, you mean the film with kids?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I haven't seen that movie in like well over a decade. I need to watch that again.
Because they're all like pretending to be adults or like gangsters.
Yeah, they're basically like kids, but they're yeah, it's gangsters, but if they were in the bodies of kids, it's kind of strange. But there we are. There we are.
I love it. Well, Jake, I'm glad to be here with you talking about video games.
Yeah, I kind of like
a lot to talk about.
This little break that we've had has kind of made me realize how much of a therapy session this is for me.
Right.
I feel like I've just like had nothing, like no one to talk to about anything. It's kind of like, oh god,
And just to be clear, everyone, don't feel too bad for Jay because he is capable of calling me. He just chooses not to. So
well, I
feel too bad about him.
I just feel, I don't know. I feel bad because you're busy.
No, I'm joking. It's all fine. We have the setup, right? I'll call you in the car. We know how it goes.
That's true. Good. Yeah, I do like those. Our little
snapshot.
Yeah.
And to be truthful to you, Jay, sometimes I will not avoid you, but I won't necessarily actively speak to you because I know that you are in like Wonderlands mode, right?
Oh,
so, like,
I guess
your mind is constantly like Wonderlands, which is great, but like no offense, but obviously I'm not ready for all that info.
That's actually kind of part of the reason why I didn't want to talk to you, is because I thought you might be in the same spot. I thought Nick's sort of like he's concentrating on the story potentially of Wonderlands right now. I'll leave him alone.
Right.
Kind of thing.
And that's appreciated. But like obviously you'll always be more ahead than me, so I just don't want to, like, don't get me wrong, I'm really excited for when that chat happens and you're like, right, Nick, this is how this works, and this, which is going to be endgame stuff.
Yeah, right? It's going to be fun because I'm kind of at the point now where I'm like, oh, I just wish I had someone to play with.
Right.
Someone to do runs and stuff,
And we're very, very, very close to that. So
cool.
Have no fear, Jay.
Cool.
Have no fear. So before we get there, though, everyone, hello, welcome all on this, I would consider sunny afternoon. Of the time of recording. This is the Game Opinion podcast where we talk about video games and stuff to do with them. Recently, we'll talk about that in a second, actually. But Jay, before we get there, well, okay, all right. I guess I'll introduce you.
Pick a lane.
I'm Nick. That's Jay.
Yeah.
And we talk every week, unless I have a really busy life schedule. Then it's whenever it comes out, which is most of the time. And we talk about news and new games and stuff, and like whatever.
General pop culture, movies, TV shows, whatever it might be.
Yeah, whatever. But like, not too much of that, right? Mainly gaming focused.
No, that's just the banter in between.
Nerds, so yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I would say actually, Jay, we are definitely a step up or higher quality than your generic kind of like nerd, like the nerd.
Higher
culture.
Quality is probably not the right word to say.
No, true.
We're on a different. We're on a different level or a different echelon, I guess. Is like another thing, maybe.
Yeah, because like we're not like bumming every new superhero film that. I know you like what I know you like to watch your stuff, but I know you also have seen all the Sopranos and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like you have. I mean, this sounds horrible, doesn't it? But you have taste, right? Whereas a lot of there's a lot of nerd culture
it's
out
weird.
There where they're like, "All the Eternals, I can't wait to see that." And
I feel like there's some people who are like, they love everything. Like they don't. They do dislike stuff. It's just that it tends to be the stuff that everyone dislikes. Like there's nothing that everyone loves that they don't like. They have to love everything that everyone else likes. I know what you mean. Yeah, it almost feels like we actually have like an opinion compared to some people who just seem like sheeple,
Right.
That's kind of. I guess that's kind of how you could describe it.
Did you come up with that?
What, sheeple? No, that's a very old term.
Okay.
Just some people are the sheep, some people are the wolves. Some people are the wolf in sheep's clothing. It just depends on how you want to be.
I get it. I like it.
Or the wolf in sheep's clothing.
Before we get there, Jay, I've been asked by the production team that we should talk a little bit more about the PS Plus games and the games with gold and stuff like that. Okay. So before we dive any further, I just want to give a shout out to this month's PS Plus game, SpongeBob remaster of Battle for Bikini Bottom, or whatever the hell it is, because it looks like quite good fun and I'm going to try it out.
Is that the one that was sped run when it first came out?
Potentially, mate.
Is it like a recent? Yeah. Is it the most recent SpongeBob game?
Well, yeah, but not the one that's not the Nickelodeon, Battle Royale one.
No, I mean like there was one that was just a SpongeBob game where it was like a platformer.
Yeah, because it's like a remake of a PS2 game.
So they've just released that on PS Plus then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's free.
It's free.
You with me?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, Jay. Oh, and I did say to the production team, by the way, the games with golds are awful now because we have.
They're awful. They are abysmally. Awful. I haven't seen one good one in
months.
Probably like a year and a bit. Honestly, probably longer.
Yeah, agreed.
And all the PlayStation Plus games are really good, but they don't have Game Pass yet.
Don't have game. And I said we talk about Game Pass games a lot anyway. But is there anything, Jay, that you would like to bring up about the free games every month?
What, on PlayStation Plus and Game Pass?
Yeah.
Or just Xbox Live, I should say?
Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
Well, I'm annoyed because I don't have a PlayStation Plus membership because I kind of have to. I spend a lot more on my Game Pass now, right?
Right.
So I kind of had to pick one rather than having one of each. And I think I'd rather have Game Pass at the minute. But yeah, I kind of wish they had better games with gold. And I wish I could afford to have a PlayStation Plus subscription at some point. Because they do have pretty good stuff on there. I know there's probably been quite a few that I've missed, but I mean, you don't miss what... Yeah, what's the saying? You don't miss what you don't... something?
Have,
I guess? I don't know.
You don't miss what you don't... or you don't know.
One of those. I mean, I haven't really paid attention to it, so... Unless I looked, I'd get annoyed with myself,
Exactly. And look, at the end of the day, we could sit here and get annoyed about the games we missed in 2017, but there's no point in doing that, is there? So it is what it is.
Chances are they'll be coming to Game Pass anyway.
Yeah, and a lot of those games are on the PS Plus collection, which you could probably bash out in a month for getting PS Plus anyway, right? Like the really, really good ones, right? Like Persona 5 and Uncharted and Final Fantasy 15 and stuff. So
I have Persona 5.
Oh.
But I still need to play it.
Really?
Yeah, but Persona is one of those games where it's almost like a time-based thing. And it's just like,
I was just going to say, aren't you going to hate that?
Yeah, I know. I know that Final Fantasy 13
just
2 is as well.
Lightning Returns. Yeah.
Or Lightning Returns. So I know I'm gonna enjoy it, but not at the same time. But I'm saving that for like a very special week, I guess. I need to play it at the right time. There needs to be nothing going on. It needs to be very, very like at peace. I need to be. I'm not at peace currently. I need to be at peace.
I get you.
I need a peaceful mind frame.
And just to be clear, that'll be the last time we talk about the PS Plus games because Jay doesn't have it. So no, but I don't know. The production team are quite enthusiastic about the games that come out every month. Like, I respect it, but I just, we know what we like and we know what we want. You know what I mean? I'm not going to play Deep Rock Galactic because it's free. All right?
I've always found that really weird. Of like, that kind of person almost seems to me like the same person who is the sheeple kind of person. It's like they love something just because it's free. Like, you have to play it. It's free. It's kind of like, well,
right?
No, well, I can give it a go. Like, I feel like I do that on Game Pass. Like, there's games on Game Pass that I would have never have even touched if they weren't on there. But I look at, like, you made a good example, that very Galactic thing. I looked at that and went, looks naff. They could pay me to play it and I still wouldn't play it. It has to be a decent amount of money for me to want to play that.
Right.
So it kind of goes into negative at that point, 100%. Like, you pay to play it, it's free, still not playing it. You have to pay me this much for me to play it. Not this much, this much. I'm like, yeah, I have some like decorum,
Jay, I didn't realise this. Do you remember Trek to Yumi, that black and white samurai game that was?
Yeah, it's coming out on Game Pass, isn't it?
Dude,
you can pre-install it right now. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited! I can't believe that's coming.
I'm not fussed about that.
Oh, dude, look, I'm not sure it'll be any good, but I'm gonna give it a go. That's all.
Yeah. Have you noticed how there's like a couple of games that are coming out that are very similar to Ghosts now?
Yeah.
Like not similar to Ghosts in that it's the same game, but just in that the theme, the thematic part of the game is like, oh, samurai. Like, it's just like trying to bring in that audience, I guess, because they now know that a game like that can sell well. So.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder whether the industry was kind of waiting with bated breath, like, oh, when are Ubisoft going to drop their Samurai Assassin's Creed? It never came.
It never came, yeah. So like, well, we'll do it ourselves.
Yeah, literally.
Good on them.
All right, Jay. Well, first up, we have got a lot to talk about in terms of news today, which I'm pretty excited about, right? We've got slightly less in terms of your main topics, I would say. But what does Nebula say when she spits out the Yarrow root after being denied it by Drax and Gamora? A, wasn't ready yet. B, it's not ripe. C, changed my mind. Or D, tastes funny. That's a fairly hard question.
I want to say B, but chances are it's either A or C. I don't think it's D.
Okay, what are we going with?
I'm going with B. I'm going with my second and third potential answer being A or C, but it's definitely not D.
He's correct. I mean, the trivia master continues. Jesus Christ. And is one of the second options A or C? It's C. I don't know how he does it.
Do you know what it is? I've sort of had the mind. I've read so many of these comics that have had certain characters in them that it's almost like I know how the characters are what they're gonna say.
Right.
Like, I know what a kind of character would and wouldn't say. So I kind of think, right, what would Nebula say? What wouldn't she say? She definitely wouldn't say D. She might say A and C, but she'd probably definitely say B. So that's kind of what I went for. It's more of like a personality thing. You'd be surprised at how good some of these Marvel writers actually are with the films, because they're actually pretty spot on with the personality of these characters.
From the comics.
Yeah, very similar. Like, a lot of the times, it's almost like they're very Marmite. They either completely miss or they completely hit it on the head.
Well, it's never in between. Like the comics.
Huh?
Is Captain Marvel like the comics? Like the movie.
Yeah, awful. Do you know what's funny? Right. Captain Marvel has never been that liked of a character. Miss Marvel, the original Captain Marvel type character, was actually not that bad. But this isn't the Kamala Khan Miss Marvel. This is the original Miss Marvel. The Miss Marvel that was in the black sort of leotard with the yellow scarf, like the original Miss Marvel.
Right.
She was actually not too bad of a character. And then when they changed her later on, everyone was like, we don't like this. Nobody really bought the comics anymore, but they still kept going with it and just completely disregarded Miss Marvel. And I was like, okay, fine. So it's like, it's whatever at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Jay, let's get into it then. I'm really excited to talk to you about loads of stuff. Really, get your thoughts on everything.
Same here.
But what I would like to do is summarize for the people, I guess, where we're at with Wonderlands. Right, this is the big game.
Yeah,
one of the big games.
2 weeks ago we said we were going to start playing it.
Right.
And I don't think you started playing it until like last week. So.
Mate, so to be fair, I did play it day 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah, you played it for a very brief amount of time, like an hour or two.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
Actually, I think you started playing it before me because you said I think that night it was going to come out at midnight. And you were like, "Yeah, I'm going to stay up to play it."
I didn't.
But you didn't. Okay.
Passed out. Couldn't do it.
Told you.
I so when I say passed out, I obviously went to bed.
Yeah.
I was just
you
so
were too
tired.
tired. Yeah.
I was just so tired.
Better to get sleep.
So I just played it Friday night, which is obviously a great night to play a game anyway, a new game. But
probably one
of
the best. Yeah.
Definitely. So Jay, where are you at with Wonderlands? Goldlock speed here.
Yeah, so Goldlock speed. I started playing it Friday night. I was level 40 Sunday at like 2 p.m.
Jeez Louise.
So I'd finished the campaign.
For those
yeah,
guys.
I think I finished the campaign and I was level 39. Because I'd finished, what I did is I finished all side quests while I was playing the main thing.
Wow,
I never had to farm or anything, so until like the last possible level. So I think I was like halfway through 39. So I pretty much played the game at the exact speed that you're kind of supposed to. I'd say, like, if you want to level up and be max level by the time you finish the campaign, then yeah, I played it at the right speed, I'd say.
Do you usually do Borderlands side quests as you go along? So it's not.
I did for the main game, but for the DLC, I tended to do the main part of it first, and then came back and did the side stuff later. But I felt like it would make more sense if in the main campaign I just did it, you know.
So for those who don't know, the way Borderlands is set out, typically speaking, is they'll introduce an area to you, and then you'll have a main quest to go through the area, and then while you're in that area, there'll be side stuff to do. But typically, if you're sort of like, if you know what to do, you can basically accept all the relevant side quests and do them all while you're in that area, sort of thing. So Jay, did you do each area as you went along, sort of thing? Or...
So anytime I started an area, when I left that area, everything had been done.
Okay.
Other than like all the collectibles, I came back to do the collectibles later on. Actually, I didn't finish the collectibles until like the Thursday, just because I couldn't be asked to get them all. I was like, what I did like one area a day, and then I think on the last day I did like 3 or 4 areas. So.
Because you had the week off, right? You had the week off after.
I had the week to sort of like clear up and play the game as much as I wanted to at that point.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. So you are end game, like thoroughly in the end game now, right?
I've been in the end game. Yeah, I'm sort of past the end game and at the point of like refining builds and trying to like farm for god roll stuff essentially. But at this point, I've farmed so much that I'd rather just happenstance come across a good piece of gear rather than try to farm for it specifically. Just because I know you have to be so lucky just for it to happen. Like I could farm this thing for 3 years and still not get the piece I wanted. So.
Are you talking about god gear stats? Was it?
So like basically like the perfect rolls, like the highest possible rolls you can get, and then also like let's say like a bit of gear can have like gun critical chance and gun critical damage, but it can also have ability critical chance and ability critical damage. You kind of have to want to get the one that has the right roll of each one at the max stats for you to be like. No, like two out of the 4 that you could possibly get or something. But most gear, there's like 30 plus different rolls it can have on it, and then each one can have different. Like one can have 15%, one can have 17.1. You kind of want to get the one that has the max with all the right add-ons, as well as like a bunch of other stuff that can. There's so many different variations of each piece of gear that it would take you infinite amount of time to get all the ones you wanted, more than likely. So. I got lucky with a lot of the stuff I've got already, so I'm pretty happy.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you're so it sounds like you've pretty much polished up most of the game, apart from some of the gear grinding you want to do, but also we talked about one achievement earlier, right? That you're still looking
yeah. So there's one achievement where you have to unlock every possible upgrade for like weapon ammo and like backpack space and bank space. And I know that it's probably going to take about 1 billion gold to get there.
Which is a lot, by the way.
Maybe not 1 billion. Maybe no, it is 1 billion because it's 100 million for the last possible one. So you're going to need that at least another 9 times after that. So yeah, it's going to take a while. Like I've played the game 40 hours, and I think I'm maybe halfway.
Oh, I thought you put in way more hours than that. No.
No, I don't think so. I think I've put in a little over 3 days.
Oh.
So hang
that
on.
Doesn't seem too bad.
Actually, no, that is more than that because it's 24 hours in a day. So 24, 48, 62. So I've put in probably closer to 70 hours then. There you go.
Okay.
For some reason I thought there was only played 20 hours and 10 hours in a day. I was like, what the hell? I don't know.
That's fine. You're probably thinking like 10 hours of gaming time.
Yeah, that's probably what. Yeah, it was like 10 hours a day for like 7 days, so about 70 hours. Yeah.
Okay, got you. And we're going to, as of recording today, we're going to record the special tomorrow, right? Because I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah.
So
kind of waiting
we're gonna
on
do all
what you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do the whole deep dive, non-spoilers, spoilers for the whole game, our thoughts on it, what we like, what we don't like, where we're at, what our journey was like. All of that will be in the special, so don't worry about that. Jay, you look lost, confused, annoyed.
No, I'm just I don't know.
All right. So that's that. Is there anything else you want to touch on with Wonderlands?
There was something, but I forgot what it was now. Damn it. Oh yeah, collectibles wise, I've literally only got to get the lore scrolls. Okay. But I can't. There's no like. I don't think there's any benefit to getting them all, honestly. So.
In game.
In-game benefit, yeah, because whenever you get all the collectibles of a certain type of collectible, you get a in-game bonus, like a 10% added
like a buff, right?
Buff essentially. And I have all of them, but I don't think there's one for getting all the lore scrolls that I've seen.
Oh, that's strange.
So I'm 92% finished out of 100% of collectibles essentially.
Jake, quick couple of things on that. One, I need your help because I think the game has glitched out in one of the areas on the collectibles, and it is driving me nuts.
Okay.
Two. It's with the lucky dice. It's in Queen's Gate, literally like the second area.
Yeah.
As in, like, I've gotten all the dice, and it's saying I've only got 24 out of 25, or whatever it is, and it's driving me mental.
I think... Okay, you'll have to show me at some point. I'll have to see what the thing is.
You have to come and
that was like always one of my worries. I was like, oh crap, I really hope there's no glitchy stuff in this.
Oh, mate.
That's always like one of the worst things. I think there was something about that on one of the latest hotfixes, so it might have already fixed itself.
Okay.
Maybe. You have to check
Number 2.
Number 3.
No, I've forgotten.
Yeah.
I've just drawn a massive blank. I think it was just really going to ask for your help, obviously when I get to the end game, but I feel like there was something more substantial to say than that, really.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help.
Jay, I need so much help, right? Because I need you to help me find like the legendary level 40 assault, like weapons are 1 and the shield are 1 and the spells I need and all that.
Yeah,
I don't mean max stats.
I still need to know what class you've picked because that's gonna change everything.
Okay. I'm so intrigued to see what class we'll save that for tomorrow. We'll do like a class reveal. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be good because I know there's like already a tier list that's changed so much.
Even after the game's come out, sort of.
Yeah, I remember day 1 there was like a clear. These 2 are the best. These 3 are the next best, and then this one is a clear bottom. Like this one is awful. So I really hope you haven't chosen that one. Although I guess they're all starting to balance out a bit more because people are starting to find different interactions that are still like good. So
I probably.
It just depends on how you build it, honestly.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about that in plenty tomorrow. Jay, can you please take us to the first topic screen of the day?
Sure.
And this will be my topic for the week. Are we good? Cool. So Jay, I wanted to talk to you today about your feelings. No, I want to talk to you about the state of the games industry. Now, I know that's very, very broad sweeping.
No, I like this because I feel like it is a bit of a fluctuating thing, especially given the last 2 or 3 years of things that have been going on.
Right. So obviously we've seen an impact from COVID, right, on delays, stuff like
Probably
that.
the biggest thing
all
that's
that
changed
kind of
things.
stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and like remote working and stuff like that, right? I actually wanted to talk to you, Jay, a bit more about my my old manly my internal old man, right? Because obviously we've got Wonderlands. It's been great to play that, and even just knowing that you're playing that at the same time and stuff's cool, right? And we've had some other really cool games come out this year, right? Like I love Tunic. You're really into Elden Ring at the moment, which we might catch up on in a bit. So there's definitely been like and Strangers of Paradise has come out. So like there's definitely games coming out that we're interested in, right? And that like we'd be cool. Like we'll play that sort of thing, or
eventually,
might play at some point.
Definitely.
But I wanted to have a bit of a moan with you, really, because a lot of the stories this week that we're going to talk about, right, are what I would call announcements that aren't announcements, right? So basically announcements that things have started production or have started or are very early in the works, right? And I'm just getting to a point, Jay, where I feel like every time I listen to my gaming news podcast or whatever it might be, or check out the headlines, I feel like the amount of games that I want to play, be that good quality single player or multiplayer co-op, whatever they might be, just solid games that aren't too bloated, aren't too expensive necessarily at launch, aren't live as a service games that make me feel like I'm bored after 3 hours and I don't want to grind for 70 hours because I haven't got the patience that you have. I feel like they're just getting less and less and less, right? So like your Wonderlands, your Horizon Forbidden West, your Tunics, I just feel like they're getting rarer and rarer. And every time I see a new game announced, and it's like, yeah, so this is a like 4-player co-op online game, free to play. I'm like,
I feel like
stop.
we're sort of like potentially coming out of that now, or we may start to come out of that in the next year or two. I feel like there's always like trends and metas, right, in the gaming industry, and people always we bring this up all the time, but they're always coming from a business standpoint, so they kind of need to make money. So they go, okay, what's done well in the last, I don't know, couple of months, maybe a year, and then they'll start making a game, and then it'll come out in 4 years, and then for the next 4 to like 6 years, that meta is just like very overdone. And I feel like I'm trying to think what like the zombie stuff. I feel like we're maybe starting to just come out of. The games.
Even now we've got Dying Light 2 and stuff coming out, right?
Yeah, I guess so. The sort of games as service games, I'm still not sure. I think people are still trying to do that, so we might still see that for a couple of years. I'm not sure. I think with Anthem and everything like that, maybe not. I'm trying to think what. So you're just missing like all these like very story-driven linear.
Yeah. So on your point, Jay, right, of meta analysis, I know we all look back with rose-tinted glasses. I know that. But I do think that PS2 era was very much the meta era of single player, linear driven kind of games, right? And even then we had like stuff like Battlefront 2, which isn't necessarily single player and stuff, but it just felt like there was just a lot of games you really wanted to play. And I know we were kids and stuff, I get that. But like it felt like the meta was kind of aligned to more maybe what I am always looking for, it seems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the meta at the moment, like you say, it's so when when a game like Tunic or Death's Door comes along, I'm like, oh, thank God that something is like, because it feels that rare almost, right? Like I'm like, why is it that other industries, like let's easy comparison, films, right? Films is actually going a little bit through this at the moment, right? Because everyone's trying to do that superhero blockbuster, and we're not getting those kind of more indie art house breakthroughs and stuff, right? But it's like games are the biggest thing on the planet in terms of entertainment and stuff, right? They're huge. Like I think it's something ridiculous, like 3 times as many people watch the Game Awards as they do watch the Oscars and stuff. Like it's mind-bogglingly big.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, Jay, where's the good stuff, man? Where's it all? Where is it all?
Well,
I ain't seeing it, and like these games that people are talking about, right? Just I will finish in a sec.
Yeah.
these games that like I'm about to talk to you about that are delayed or announced, right? Like, let me take a current example for you. Elder Scrolls 6, right? You're like, oh, Nick, yeah, what's the timeline on that? I'm like, Jay, bro, that's not coming out till like 2027. And like, I know we're going to talk about The Witcher 4 later, and that's all been, but like, that ain't coming out till 2027 at the earliest, guys. Put it in your diaries, and I'll make a bet on you. I'll make a bet with you that game is not coming out for another like 5 years minimum.
Yeah, I'd probably say that minimum. Yeah.
So like, there is a little bit of me of like, well, Nick, just be patient. It's up to the companies to announce what they're working on. Like, I get that, shareholders and all that, but at the same time, I'm like, can we please just stop talking about these games for so long? It's actually burning out. It's burning.
I feel like we're still in that honeymoon phase of when like the next generation of a console comes out, that there aren't that many good games. Like, I feel like now a lot of the gaming media is starting to only now start to talk about the Unreal Engine 5 and kind of how that's going to like make things be better in the next couple of years, and how I imagine a lot of game companies are now sort of like using it and potentially because I know there's like a few MMOs that are supposed to have either come out already or are coming out soon that in the middle of development changed their engine from like maybe either an in-house one or 4 to Unreal 5, and they're like, we can't we're so surprised at how good this thing is, it's going to make our game so much infinitely better. So I imagine there's probably quite a lot of gaming or just games that are in development right now that have probably switched over to 5, and they're having to like rejig some things around, like change a couple things. I think Unreal 5 is probably going to be the thing that's going to revolutionize next gen, hopefully. Because I mean, we've seen what it looks like, so we know how good it's going to be. It just might take a little while. I think again, patience is like key right now. We kind of just have to sit through this lull. I mean, we've definitely gotten games to tide us over. I can't. I mean, it just sounds to me like you're sort of like you need like another epic game that's going to be talked about for a while. But for me, Elden Ring kind of is that right now. Like it's weird. Like Horizon, is it Forbidden West? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I feel like that game should still be being talked about more than it has been, but I haven't really heard much.
Agreed.
Versus, like, it's not really in the sort of like in the zeitgeist as much as Elden Ring is. Like, to me, Elden Ring is everywhere right now. Like, it's being memed about everywhere. It's being like referenced all the time. It's on every bit of social media. It's always on TikTok. It's always on Instagram. It's always on Twitter. Like, everyone's always talking about Elden Ring. I've barely heard anyone talk about Horizon. Just as an example, I'm not saying one is better than the other necessarily. I'm just saying that these sort of epic games that can stay in the zeitgeist do exist. It's just that you kind of need to, I don't know, maybe pick and choose which one you want to. Actually, no. I guess it is more down to the audience, right? It's down to the global reception of a game. Is how it's going to be perceived later on, right? Like it's almost like a legacy type thing. Like, I feel like the first Horizon game, and like even God of War and Last of Us have like a type of legacy, but I feel like Last of Us Part 2 has less of a legacy. Horizon has less of a legacy, but all the all the Souls games all have that longevity of always being talked about. And again, I'm not saying this just because I think one set of games might be better than the other. I'm just saying a lot of the time it's not necessarily, it's sort of right place, right time.
Right.
And I feel like we can't really expect that to happen all the time. It's more of a if it happens, it happens. Like, there could be a game that comes out that me and you think is terrible, or the rest that might become the next like global sensation. It just depends on how the gaming world and audience perceives it and takes it and what they do with it, whether it be for the bad or good. And I guess that's the kind of thing we're looking for, right? We're looking for some next sort of like global takeover of a game, either type, genre, or thematic type thing. Like, what's the next zombie game? What's the next Souls game? It kind of sounds to me like that's quite what you're looking for, another thing to fill the gap of what's maybe being left behind of like maybe the battle royale games or whatever. Because I feel like a lot of the battle royale stuff is starting to die off now too. Like
Well,
Fortnite
to
is
be
trying really
fair,
hard to like come back, and then because they recently did that thing with like getting rid of the
no
building or
build,
whatever.
right? Yeah,
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 I think that
yeah.
was almost like a thing of like they're starting to lose the player base, so they wanted to bring people back for a reason. And I think they've actually done a pretty good job at that. But yeah,
Yeah, I think your point's very well articulated, and I think there is some truth to, what is the next kind of meta period of the industry going to be. I guess I was coming from a bit more. I think I'm coming from a bit more of a bit about like the Hogwarts Legacy that we talked about, right? Like I think me and you both thought that game looks really cool, and it was a bit like, what? Why is it taking so long? Like
hmm
the video game industry, how could we not have possibly made how have we not got, I know we have Shadow of Mordor and stuff, but how have we not got a AAA RPG Lord of the Rings game that would easily sell 10 million copies? Where is it? What's going on, guys?
I
Like,
think the recent
uh,
meta, maybe over the last 2 to 7 years, again, like the business people at these like WB, um,
right.
and whoever owns Lord of the Rings game side of stuff.
I think they do, to be fair, mate. I think they do.
They've sort of looked again. They look at trends. They go, right, what's going to make us the most money? Lord of the Rings is probably going to do worse than maybe this other thing, so they make the other thing instead. Like they're not going to prioritize something unless they know it's going to do well. So I think the reason why we're missing it, it's taken so long, is probably because it's almost never going to happen. Like unless all of a sudden there's like a new Lord of the Rings style thing that sort of like revitalizes the next generation of fans. Because I think a lot of things that are being made, whether it be film, TV, or game nowadays, is um, to bring in the new audience, to bring in the Gen Z audience, because they're the ones that are now growing up to, sort of the mid to late teens to like early 20s. That are all being like, right, how are we going to make the 18 to 24-year-old demographic spend all their new money from their new job? Like they definitely want to keep the older generation happy, i.e., the 25 to like 38 demographic, or maybe the 25 to like 35 demographic, like us, the millennials. They want to keep us around because there's probably more of us, but we're less likely to spend our money on things like that because we've got more other things to have to spend it on. So they kind of want to keep us around for the sort of medium group, and then they want to do the next generation as the priority group to be like, right, how are we going to get these people involved? They sort of figure out what they like, and then they make things based on what they like, which is why we're sort of finding it hard to sort of be like, we don't like this as much because it's not really our generation's type thing as much.
Right.
So we're starting to like fall off a little bit, and because we're starting to fall off, everything new that comes out doesn't seem as good as it used to. So it's almost like that sort of like make games great again type thing. It's kind of like, oh, it sounds a bit rough to say that, but we're sort of starting to get we're kind of old now
Right,
when it
right,
comes to
right, right.
games. Like we're not the main demographic anymore. They're sort of out with the old and in with the new now. So whenever the next couple of years for us is going to potentially be quite rough. Like there's obviously a lot of gaming developers out there who are probably our age who probably want to make things more for them, but they might not be as worried about money as maybe some of the larger companies are, and vice versa. I'm not sure. So it's all
Yeah, it's
about
a great
demographics.
point,
All
dude.
about demographic.
It's a great point, right? Because like you say, it almost seems like a bit of a conundrum, right? Like they want to make art that resonates and obviously makes money and stuff, but at the same time, because there's this constant like, we need to get the youngsters, we need to get the
Yeah.
up and comers. It's
Because the thing
like
is, the young
it's
people are going to stay with that for longer. Like if you try to get like a 25-year-old into something new now, they might grow out of that by the time they're 30, 35, whereas someone who's 15 might stay with that until they're 25. So there's like a longer
right,
time where they're going to stay with that type of new thing that's come out. So they want to be able to hold on to it for longer than how they know that someone older is going to potentially let go of it because they've grown out of it type thing. And
right,
even like trying to get kids younger than that, like from like 5 to like 14, they're trying to get even younger kids into like certain bits of media through TV show or movies to then want them to then buy things that are related through games. So like same thing, like for us it's Harry Potter, right? We watch Harry Potter as kids and we still love it now 20 years later. Like that's what Harry Potter, when it was made, it was like, yeah, we're going to target it towards kids so that when they're in their late 20s they still want to buy stuff that's to do with Harry Potter. Same thing now with like Marvel, like all the new Marvel stuff that people watched it growing up when they were younger, so they're going to keep buying stuff to do with Marvel and Disney into their late 20s. That's just how it's always going to be, but we're always going to be left behind eventually. And we're starting to see the early remnants of that, and it's tough to swallow, but we're probably going to have to get used to it, I guess. Or just hope that we enjoy what the youngsters enjoy as well,
Well, I do think there'll still be things out there made for us, because that's a large demographic not to completely ignore.
No.
But like you say, it's interesting though, Jay, because obviously the bigger gaming gets, the more you will have like older gamers, right? So like I feel like you have that sort of 30, 40-year-old generation, which I would consider the original, the absolute gamer generation.
Yeah, like
right?
older millennials, basically.
Yeah, 100%.
We're the young millennials, they're the old millennials, yeah.
And then you've got us as more the kind of Nintendo 64, PS1 onwards, right? But like I feel like
I'd say more like PS2 onwards, but yeah, sure.
Sure. But then you are like, obviously it's sticking more, right? Like I assume we're both going to be playing games when we're 40, probably.
God, if I'm not, is like... shoot me. Just pull the plug if I'm not playing games then. What's the point,
So you got to think like who's going to make, like, it's funny because the developers, I think it was Naughty Dog, right? Last of Us Part 2, right? But obviously I know development studios have lots of different people all the time and stuff, but the development studios that made what they made 10 years ago are making completely different things now, because they almost want to see different things, right? Like the God of War of Santa Monica. Yes, they made a reboot of God of War, but it was so different from the original, because I assume they make the game they want to play, right?
I think that's probably the consensus, is that most people make the art they want to see or play or whatever it might be,
Right.
You just got to hope that the audience also likes that.
And with that, Jay, shall we move on to the news? Because I think I've rambled quite enough.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed that conversation. So, we have... Just let me know when we're there, mate.
We're there. We've been there.
So, guys, we've got a lot to discuss in the news this week. And I said to Jay, it's quite a nice change of pace, actually, because usually we only have 3 or 4 things, and usually me and Jay pick up the same news stories every week anyway.
Well, I think we've both picked some separate things. That's quite good.
Yeah. But to be fair, every single one that I had, you had on yours as well. So
yeah. Kinda. Yeah.
So Jay, let's start with your list in no particular order. I think we should start with the PS Plus redo, as it were. Pretty big news, right? So we finally got this kind of imagining of the PS Plus subscription model, probably coming in because of the impact Game Pass has had, right? So I'll briefly read it. I'll try and read it out, but obviously you guys can find out all the actual details online. But basically, as far as I understand it, would you like to, by the way, Jay? I don't mind if you want to read through.
No, you're all right. Go for it.
Okay. So we've got PS Plus Essentials. So there's 3 tiers. First tier, PS Plus Essentials. So basically the same as PS Plus at the moment, with monthly downloadable games, exclusive discounts and stuff like that. That basically remains the same price as PS Plus. I'm going to go with British cost, because guess what? We're British. So that will be £7 a month. I won't do yearly, because... Like, I mean, I think I pay yearly. Yeah,
just times 12.
Well, no, it's cheaper yearly. It's £50. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forget. They do it differently. Yeah, I think this is actually probably the biggest thing that's making me want to get this, is that the yearly price is actually cheaper than what you would be paying, than if you'd be paying original, basically. So. But
you could, a bit like me with Disney Plus, Jay, you could probably get this for 2 months and then play all the games you want and then bugger off. If
I wanted to, yeah, I'll have to think about it, but I'll see what the initial list of stuff is, and then we'll see. Yeah.
So the next one is PlayStation Plus Extra. So all the benefits from previous tiers basically applies to each tier, but adds a catalogue of up to around 400, so quite a fair few.
That's a lot.
PS5 and PS4 games. So we're talking about fairly recent games from third parties and their own exclusive catalogue.
Yeah, pretty much the last 10 years or so.
Right, and these are downloadable. So as far as I'm concerned, that is very much a Game Pass.
Pretty much all I need. Yeah, it sounds pretty good to me.
Then we've got PlayStation Plus Premium, which is where things get pretty interesting, guys. So,
yeah, this is interesting.
we've got PS3 games available via cloud streaming. So this is basically PS Now at the moment, right? So for those, and that's around 340 they've said at the moment. So if for those who don't know, PS Now, you basically stream the game rather than download it. Why is that an option? Couldn't tell you. Why have they done that? Couldn't tell you. Why can't you just download it? Literally couldn't tell you. So that's that.
I think it's because PS3, they still haven't found a way to make PS3 or older games work on PlayStation 5 other than having to just stream it. You can't I think the PS5 isn't capable of taking that data and then making the console play it rather than just streaming it. Because if you're streaming it, there's also there's a different computer out there that's working as a PS3. Essentially, like the PS5 isn't a PS3 plus a PS4; it's just a PS5. It has some software and hardware that's available for PS4 stuff, but not for PS3 stuff. I think that's why.
There you go.
I just don't think the hardware is there essentially, which just sounds a bit backwards, but that's just how it is. I think they did that on purpose. They did it so that the PS5 could be more streamlined, I think.
And then we also have, alongside that, a catalogue of beloved classic games, both in streaming and download options. I assume that means every game you can stream or download, but we'll see. From the original PlayStation, PS2, and PSP.
Yeah, the PSP thing actually sounds good to me, because there were so many good PSP games that I wish I could play.
That's a pretty impressive. Obviously, it depends. Well, we'll get to that. So
yeah, we have no knowledge on what any of these games are yet. Like, there's no list of I think the only games we know that are coming to this basically PlayStation Game Pass is God of War, Returnal, and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Pretty much just like all the stuff that PlayStation has control over, or at least some control over. And then obviously, like, Game Pass probably took so many years to go to all these game developers and be like, right, we want to make a deal with you about using your game. And I don't think PlayStation's even close to doing that yet, probably. So they're going to need to spend the next couple of years going to all these game companies being like, can we use your game for this? And they're either going to say yes or no, and they're going to make them an offer that they can't refuse, you know? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, Jay, PlayStation Plus Extra, which is tier 2, is 84 quid a year or 11 quid a month.
Yeah, which is the same as Game Pass, no? Game Pass is 11. It's $10.99.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah,
it's the same.
And technically cheaper because you can't buy Game Pass annually, I believe.
Yeah, it is cheaper. So Game Pass at £11 a month is obviously £110. No, £120 a year.
Right.
£110 a year, something like that. Whereas, this would be 84. So technically, it is cheaper as long as you buy the yearly option.
Well, that's the PS4, PS5 games. If you want the whole shebang, which is difficult to judge, compared to Game Pass because we don't know the games yet. That's 100 quid a year, so still cheaper.
Yeah, still cheaper by like 20 quid or something,
$13.50 a month, so more expensive monthly.
Yeah.
But Jay, my question to you, I put this to you. This is all quite exciting. We knew it was coming. Took a bit longer than I expected. Question is, there is just no way we can understand the extent of the impact of this has until we know the games, right? That's just the simple fact of it, right?
Yep, 100%. Totally agree. But I mean, I don't know what would have to be available for me to want to get it yet.
Right.
Until I see it, I won't know. I don't really want to have to spend the time thinking about, what's going to make me want to get that. I think also if I was to get the PlayStation 1, I'd probably want to cancel my Game Pass for that particular month and then switch over. But because it's cheaper buying the yearly option, I think I'd probably just have to go for the yearly option no matter what anyway. So I don't know. It's a tough one. It is a tough one.
And as far as I understand it, they won't be adding, day one launches.
Yeah, so that's the other thing, is that there are going to be no day one launches for the foreseeable future, which is a massive setback if you ask me. That's basically it's like that classic meme at the minute of like saying, "Mum, can we?" An example is like, "Mum, can we go see Metallica at concert?" And then Mum saying, "We have Metallica at home," and then the shitty version of Metallica at home is just like a really bad band that does covers,
Right.
Like that's the equivalent. It's just like the little version, Like the Tesco's Own. It's basically like it's the difference between like buying Pringles and Tesco's Own. That's the difference of like Game Pass versus this PlayStation Plus thing. So There's your comparison.
I think we saw this coming, Jay, because as you said, right,
we did. We predicted the hell out of this thing.
Whether it makes business sense, right? So we talked about this, right? Because we're like, Ghost of Tsushima is selling loads and loads of copies
without Game Pass.
Why would they put it? Yeah, why would they put it on?
I think they also know because they can make more money without it. They're just going to give. They're not going to bother with the day one. I don't think they're ever actually going to bother with the day one stuff because they know they don't need to. I think they even said in an article recently that the reason they weren't doing it is because they don't need to. Like verbatim, they just don't need to. They know people are going to buy their games regardless.
Yep. And Xbox doesn't have that, Jay. Like, I think Halo did sell well, even though it's on Game Pass day one.
Yeah.
But let's be frank about it, Jay. Game Pass does not have those first-party exclusives, which would sell 10 million units on their own.
Exactly. You know? And I also know that current PlayStation Plus subscribers is double the amount of Game Pass subscribers.
No, that can't be right.
Double. More than double. Facts.
That's mental.
Actual facts. Let's have a guess. How many people own an Xbox and how many people own either a PS4 or a PS5?
Okay, so
just give me like a ballpark, do you reckon?
PS4s in the wild, we're looking at 115 million. PS5s, we're probably looking maybe even towards the 15, 20 million mark.
Okay, so let's say about 140 million combined? Roughly?
Yeah. Okay. 130.
130. All right, what about Xbox?
Xbox, you're looking at maximum 50, 55 million Xbox One, Series X's, Series S's, all that other stuff. You're probably looking at, hopefully, I think they reached 10 million recently.
So we say
60, 65.
Okay, so you then got to think, out of how many of that 65 mil and out of that 130 mil, how many have a subscription to either PS Plus or Xbox Live stroke Game Pass?
Right.
Probably half. Let's say like half, just to be generous.
Yeah.
Because you've got roughly about double the amount of sales on PlayStation than you have on Xbox, you're more than likely going to have probably double the amount of subscribers to their subscription services. So it makes sense, really, doesn't it? So I mean, yeah, just how it is. It's just numbers, man. It's just numbers.
It does.
It just makes sense. So I mean, yeah, because they know they've already got that many people subscribed to it, they know that they're going to make. They don't need to convince people to keep subscribing because they're already subscribed, and they're more than what people are on Game Pass. So it doesn't really matter. They're all good. They're all cushy. They're comfy.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Next up, E3 has been cancelled again.
Yeah, it's weird. I even remember, like, I think it was probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was an announcement being like, right, E3 is ready for this year. Get ready for it. We'll announce the games coming soon. And then literally, like, the next, like, 2 or 3 days after that, they were like, nah, we're joking. Nah, it's cancelled.
Mental.
And then I think in the article, the primary like quote is, we're going to come back next year with like a rejuvenated E3 experience, and they're hoping to make it in person as well. So
right, well, this year is supposed to be in person.
Exactly, yeah. But I think I just think this like at this point it's like, I don't know if it's like new blood that's taken over or something, or like the people who were used to run it don't run it anymore. But I feel like people just aren't able. It's not. I don't think it's going to be to the scale that it used to be. Like I think E3 is potentially gone, isn't it? It's just dead and buried at this point. I don't know, unless I see it different. But
no, it's gone.
I feel like there's just too many people who have already replaced it with like other events that are spread out across the year that announce things. Like game developers know that so many people are going to watch the Game Awards that they might as well just leave their announcements till then. Same with Tokyo Game Show for a lot of like the Japanese companies. There's a lot of like people just do directs now, like Nintendo Direct. Xbox have what do they call it? Do they call it Direct?
Well, they have their own thing.
We've got the State of Play.
State of Play.
Yeah, like what's the point in having E3 if we're going to have these already? Like they're already in place, ready to go, and they're digital, so there's no need to like spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions, on a venue. It's like, what's the point? It's just a waste of money. So they're trying to save money in a time where people are trying to save money. It makes sense.
Dude, for me, this obviously, so you've got a lot of people out there who wanted to go to E3, liked E3, all that kind of stuff, right? For me, I think if you're honest with yourself, me and you, we probably weren't bothered about E3 because we were never there, right? But what we did care about is the week-long news and announcements of games, game trailers, everything to do with games, right? That's what we care about. We want what we're playing, right?
Yeah, we want to be teased.
Frankly, the showcases we saw, Jay, towards the end, or like the most recent E3s, to have the kind of conferences that Ubisoft had in, like, you know, post 2010 era, the fact they were still doing stuff like that is just crazy, right? Like, do you State of Play, do you Nintendo Direct, do you Microsoft One, just have someone there saying, yeah, you know, I've got great plans, blah, 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 here's some trailers. That's all we need, that's all we want. Right? I think if you're going to do some sort of conference thing, do like an orchestra with it, like PlayStation did, or like do some live effects or make it cool. But frankly, I literally couldn't give a damn about watching Raymond Rabbids dancing on stage and shit. Okay, like, I don't care about it.
I think at this point, we live in a post-COVID world in that people have realized that all that sort of like showmanship when it came to all that kind of stuff was just, one, a waste of money, and two, not necessarily, and didn't really influence people on when it came to like game sales. So why need to spend all that money if you know you can spend it elsewhere? Like, to me, that money just could have been spent on another, like, more better game development. Like, improve the actual thing you're trying to sell, not the thing that's making you want to show off. Like, I feel like all that showmanship is just not necessary anymore. People know that if you can get the same amount of work done, if not do it better from home, then why not just do it then? You know, I think that literally is all it comes down to. So,
and to be honest with you, I do believe in the Rockstar and the From Software approach, which is let the art speak.
Yeah, 100%. There's no need to, like, it's so wanky to see these people try and like sell their shit, like the whole like spiel of, oh yeah, it's gonna be good. Like, just let the game talk. Again, it's like, there's some games that I feel like have been had that happen to them where they try to sell it too much, and then it just kind of ruins the whole like vibe and the hype towards the game. Like, if you just let the game come out and let it speak for itself, it's either going to do bad or do good. You can't really do anything. You can't influence anything. If you just are silent, things will happen as they happen. But if you speak up, you're more likely to have things go wrong. Like, to sway people's opinion on things. I guess they're just gambling on hoping that whatever they say is going to sway people in the right direction rather than the wrong direction. Because I guess they've probably come up with some sort of like formula where they can see how it's made things improve. But maybe over recent years, it's not really necessary anymore. So
potentially. Next up, Jay, we have quite a few announcements of things that aren't going to come out for the next 5 years, but we'll talk about them anyway. So, Jay, first up, we have the Unreal 5 engine Witcher 4 teaser, which obviously is a pretty big deal. So,
yeah,
thoughts?
Okay, so the main consensus around this, even before this article came out, and like they even speculated it, everyone was like, well, obviously, right? Because the main thing was CD Projekt Red didn't. They even say it in this article. They're like, yeah, we kind of want to make a game that isn't going to crash in 1,600 different places while people are playing the game. We don't want that to. Yeah, they're basically saying how CD Projekt Red basically said we don't want all the mistakes of Cyberpunk to happen again. So rather than using our own not as good engine, we're going to use this one. The one that actually works. This isn't like a shit on them kind of thing. They just realised they've sort of like taken their own mistakes and been like, yeah, we understand that we need to improve, so we're going to do it the right way this time. We're going to learn from our mistakes and do the right thing this time, and hopefully it works out. Again, this is a bit of a gamble to an extent, but it's weird because we're starting to see a trend now of like a lot of game developers take up their own engine. Much like Capcom are now using their own engine for most of their new game releases. But I imagine they'll probably use Unreal. I don't know if they can use assets from Unreal. I'm not really sure. But yeah, some people are switching one way, other people are switching the other. So this is annoying. The light keeps changing, so I'm having to like keep doing this.
Yeah, what's going on?
The sun was shining, so I thought I'd turn the light off because I don't want to waste it.
Right.
And then the sun went away, so I was like, I need to turn the light back off.
I was like, what the fuck? These close
again? It got dark. Oh, Jesus. But yeah, no, I'm kind of glad that they're doing that because it means that they can actually make a game that seems like it's on next gen and not on previous. That's what we want. We need Unreal 4 and a lot of these old style ones just need to go. So. Yeah. Out with the old and in with the new. It seems to be the topic or the theme of today's podcast.
Next up, so we'll do these one at a time, but we had a similar announcement for Tomb Raider in development at Crystal Dynamics.
Just funny, there's been a couple. I know you're going to bring them up in a minute, but there's been a couple of like announcements of we're making another one of these games or we're remastering this game, and the first thing that came to my head was I don't care. I care this much.
But some people do care.
I know, it's funny because the games that were mentioned, I was like, kind of wish these were other games.
Right.
Did it need to be these ones? Probably not.
Right.
Because from previous iterations we've had of remasters recently, they haven't really gone that well. So we'll wait and see on that. But yeah, Tomb Raider doesn't. Tomb Raider, I don't care about Tomb Raider. I don't. Unless they made Tomb Raider into an RPG, I don't care.
Well, Jay, have you played the reboot at all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not fully, like a little bit, not a lot. But I didn't really like it. It was kind of like, eh.
There are RPG elements, but
yeah,
I don't think you level up and stuff.
Yeah, I'm good.
Dude, I totally get you, bro. I totally. Oh,
I scoffed. I outwardly scoffed. I was like, oh, really?
I get it. Like, let's not be too close-minded, right? They're just saying that we've got a project. It's a Tomb Raider game. That's our bread and butter. That's our blood. It's unreal.
Boring.
It's unreal.
Make a new IP for God's sake. Stop trying to make like they're scraping the bottom of the Tomb Raider PS1 era, PS2 era barrel.
Well,
like scrape some off the top.
Tomb Raider ever.
Like Jesus Christ! Like who cares about Tomb Raider anymore? Oh, like you could make the same comparison, I guess, with Final Fantasy because they're equally old, they're about as old as each other. Maybe one's obviously older than the other, but it's kind of like people care more about Final Fantasy than they do about Tomb Raider. Clearly, like this is a good comparison. What I said earlier about the zeitgeist. People don't talk about Tomb Raider; they talk about Final Fantasy all the time. How many Tomb Raider references are there in games versus Final Fantasy? In comparison. Like I get that I kind of almost sound like, well, just go with the popular thing and not with the niche thing, because that's obviously a little bit hypocritical of me. Because there's probably quite a lot of niche things I would like to see more around. But I feel like just make a new take a gamble. What good came out of just safety? Take a gamble, take a risk, and make something new that can potentially become the next big thing. Like I'm not seeing enough risk out of these people. They're all being way too safe, way too comfortable. And the part of the reason why they're doing that is probably because the people who are above them are like, we need to make a safe amount of money, not a risky amount of money right now because of the amount of losses we've had over the last 2 or 3 years. So we're probably going to see quite a few shitty games come out over the next couple of years because of COVID, because of the amount of money they need to make back up from what they've lost. So if you're going to blame anything, blame that. There's your reason. And I hate it. I hate that that is the reality, but that kind of is. Like people just need to make new things and try and find the next big thing. There's no innovation right now. We spoke about this 2 or 3 weeks ago. There's lack of innovation.
Right. I mean, we've touched on it today as well, right? With my rant and
bugs
stuff,
me. Just make something new. Jesus. Please,
look,
try.
On the one hand, Jay, well said, well said, period. But on the one hand, I totally agree with you. On the other hand, you have the whole situation with Crystal Dynamics, right? So Avengers flopped and wasn't very good.
It could have been. It could have been amazing. It could have been so good.
But
Marvel just isn't it right now. So
it is what it is. And then they also are working on the initiative, which seems to maybe be in trouble. Probably, maybe.
The initiative?
Yeah, we talked about the news story where loads of people were leaving at the initiative studio who making Perfect Dark.
Oh, yeah. Again, another game where I'm like, what? That's such an old thing. Why redo it?
Bro.
It's the same. It's exactly the same reason. That might have even been the thing I spoke about with innovation. I was like, just make something new. Don't do a twist on something that's already been.
But the thing is that Tomb Raider is a cash cow, right? And to be fair, if I was going to be the devil's advocate, Jay, I would be like, well, Jay, why are you still buying Wonderlands? Because that's similar.
Yeah, but it is an innovation on Borderlands. It's not just the same thing. It is a variation on it. And this Tomb Raider thing, again, while it is a slight innovation, it's not enough of a one for me.
Like
obviously, until
like
I see
Halo.
this, if this Tomb Raider game is basically the same as the last two, I'm going to be like, what was the bloody point? I guess again, people are probably screaming at me right now. Well, what about bloody Assassin's Creed? It's like, or like Call of Duty. People always make the same comparison about Call of Duty and stuff. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess if you want to but they make more money than probably what Tomb Raider does. So they're gonna keep making those games. These are we're talking like the highest echelon of games.
Right.
I feel like Tomb Raider sort of is in that they're not quite AAA for me. They're sort of more AA.
Well, you'd be surprised. I think the reboot sold over 10 million copies.
I mean, yeah, it probably did well. I mean, that's the thing. We're just gonna keep seeing things that do well, not necessarily things that are good. Something that isn't good can still sell well. I mean, classic example, the Venom movie. Made $1 billion plus.
It got $1 billion.
Unwatchable.
It got $1 billion.
Unwatchable.
Who is watching these films, man?
Because Venom's been one of the most wanted characters in cinematic history, probably for the last 25 plus years. Same with Deadpool and stuff. Deadpool made $1 billion too. But Deadpool one was way better than the other. I'll tell you that right now. I tried watching the second Venom movie recently. Did I finish it? I just had to skip to the end. I was like, this is awful. It is genuinely probably the worst movie I've seen in history ever. It's awful. It is so bad.
Oh my god!
I'm sure the Tomb Raider games are great. I'm sure they're fine. But just make something new. I just need something new right now. I need new things.
Return to Monkey Island announced.
Yay! Can't wait.
To be fair, Jay. To be fair.
I feel like that's one of them games that my dad would play. I know my dad likes Monkey Island.
To be fair, Jay, I believe that it genuinely has been 10 plus years since the last of these games came out. So you can imagine, or even 15, 20 years. So you can imagine it would be like Spyro 4 coming out, right? I would lose my shit. So
it's fine to still make these innovate or new variations on these old games, or even remakes or reboots, but don't expect them to do well. I guess, or it's really tough to say because I kind of want them to spend their money on something amazing and not on something that they know is going to make them money. It just bugs me. It really does. I want to be wowed by something that I haven't seen before. I feel like when you're younger, it's okay. So we've been around long enough.
Okay.
We've gotten to the point now where everything that comes along, we've seen before.
Yeah.
There's nothing new anymore for us. We've seen it all. I feel like once you get to 25, you've seen everything, to a degree. Because most media, there's only 36 variations of the same story, told in any sort of media you play, watch, there's 36 variations. We know this is a known thing.
Yeah.
So any story that you've witnessed, you've seen at least 36 other versions of around. So by the time you're 25, you've probably seen all different variations or variations of the variations. There's always different combinations, but it kind of gets a bit stale. So you kind of want to just hope that someone can come up with something that's a better variation of the last one. So that's all I want. I just want something new. I just hate hearing about. It's also a similar thing of just making the same thing but for the next generation. That's all it is. It's just making something that people are going to see. Oh, this is new. I'll buy it. Versus, oh, this is old. I'm not going to bother. But if it's a new thing or something old, oh yeah, I'll try it. It's kind of if it works, it works. But I don't care for it. That's what I'm saying. Not for me. Potentially. Depends on what it is.
And last up. By the way, I'm not cutting you off again.
No, you're good. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Breath of the Wild 2 delayed till 2023.
Thank
now, Jay,
God.
this is in the news.
Thank God.
However, I don't know why. Because why is anybody surprised about this?
No.
Does anybody know the name of the game? No.
No.
Is it April 2022? No. Well, it's going in 2023.
There's multiple reasons why they did this. I think one of the biggest ones is because they didn't want to compete with Elden Ring for Game of the Year.
Interesting.
100%. No, seriously, that's probably a big reason, or at least a decent chunk. I'll probably say at least 10% of the chunk of the reason why.
But obviously, Elden Ring probably took most of its design off Breath of the Wild, right?
No, I think it took most of its design off of history and previous Soulsborne games. I think it's where it took most of its inspiration from. Just historical events, not necessarily other games.
Fair.
I feel like Breath of the Wild is sort of like its own thing.
But we're not surprised about this, right, Jay? Like,
no, I'm actually kind of glad because it also means that Nintendo can take the time on making other things that are also coming out this year better. Just spread the load, you know.
Share the load.
Yeah, spread it out. Make it like if you're gonna like I actually thought about this recently, but I'm happy that there are Zelda fans out there and that they're gonna get the game that they really really want. Where was I going with that? I don't know. I'm just happy for people, you know. I'm happy that people are going to get what they want.
Yeah, 100%.
It's whatever, but it's just not. You know, I'm going to avoid it as much as I can.
On that point, Jay, it's reminding me of the Dark Knight a bit. I feel like we need games that we need, not the games we deserve. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, I guess.
I feel like the games that we need to come out need to be so much more than just the games we want. You know what I mean? Like who? No, I read. So if you got every single gamer in the world in the year 2000, I'm trying to think of the right year, 2006, 2007, I think.
Oh Jesus, that was.
And you were like, what sort of games?
Like Halo 2.
I doubt anybody would have said a game like Dark Souls. And yet, when Dark Souls comes out and people play it, they're like, this is the game I want to play.
Yeah, right? It's not the game they deserve. No, it's not the game they wanted, but it is the game they deserve.
Yeah, maybe I'm getting that the wrong way around then.
No, I think you said it right.
Not the game they need, but the game they deserve. But anyway,
yeah,
I think you get my point.
Not that they want one they don't. Okay, not the game they want, but the game they deserve. I think is probably the best way to put it.
There we go.
Hang on, I want to check when Demon Souls came out because that was obviously the first Souls game.
Right, it was a PS3 game, so we are talking at least 2006, right? At least.
2009.
Wow. Okay.
Close.
Oh, so maybe Dark Souls was like 2011. Oh, that's mental. What?
Dark Souls came out after 2009. I think it was 2011.
They made all those games so quickly.
Yes and no. Oh, 2010. No, it came out. Was it 2010? I don't know. It won't tell me. There we go. 2011. I was right. 2011.
Okay.
2012.
Jay, speaking of, please take us to your topic screen where we will discuss your update on Elden Ring.
Yes. There we are. We're there. Yeah, so Elden Ring. Elden Ring's great. I've started a new playthrough. I'm doing a strength.
Stop right there. Did you finish the other one?
No. I got about halfway.
Okay, how come you started a new one?
I wanted to play the game differently. I wanted to play it. So basically, my first playthrough was more of just to sort of, almost just to like get my mind and my muscle memory back into gear. Because for me, Souls games kind of need a lot longer to make you remember how good you are at them. If that makes sense. Like I've gotten to, it took me about 40 to 50 hours for me to my mind to and my muscle memory to kick in to be like, oh, you actually know how to play this game. Like it took a while, but I'm at the point now where I'm sort of like comfortable with like the first half of the game, and I feel like that could then carry me through the rest. So I feel like it's weird. Like, no, go on.
I thought your build was very specific, and you were getting it just how you wanted though for that first.
Yeah, it was like a magic thing, but I got there with it, but I just kind of wanted to get to the point where I could start playing the game and not be scared or worried about dying. You know what I mean, like that kind of that point where like you're kind of just worried the entire time of playing it. I feel like I can't really enjoy a game if I'm worried about playing it.
So why would you were you worried because you weren't going to get the build you wanted and stuff like that?
No, I think it was just like there's like a weird thing with certain games where you know that it's a hard game, so your mind is almost tricked into thinking that it's hard. But if you go into it convinced that you're actually like you know what you're doing, you'll actually find that you tend to do better. Mm. It's weird. It's a weird trick that I've found in like some games where if you just like convince yourself that you're good at it, you are good at it. Is that weird? Like I think I've put maybe another maybe 20 or 30 hours into this new playthrough, and it's just like it's not hard anymore. Like I'm not struggling. Like I feel like there's less of a struggle once you've played it for long enough and reminded yourself how much it just isn't that scary and isn't that hard. Like it is hard, but you've gotta almost like, I think because I've been getting older, my mind isn't as quick in certain areas, so my mind has to sort of get used to being quick again. Like for me, one of the biggest things is dodging in the game, right? Most people, when they're being attacked, they'll like spam the dodge button, thinking, "Oh, I can just infinitely spam this and I'll dodge everything." But in this game, your dodge invisibility is in a very specific window, and if you don't dodge at the right points, you're just going to die most of the time. And having to like remind myself to think of that while I'm in the middle of like a dire situation has kept me alive and made it so I've been able to get better. I've basically improved at the game just by remembering how to play it again. Because I think most with the Souls games, it is genuinely practice makes perfect, but a lot of it is always just like having the right mindset. It really is. Like correct mindset, you're just going to do well. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I also want to play the game in more of a linear fashion as well. I didn't want to play the game blind, but I didn't want to play it like completely knowing everything. So at the minute I'm following a guide, but it's like a very linear guide, like a very straightforward, go to this area, find all these items if you want to, make sure you kill all these bosses if you want to, and then move on to the next area. That's kind of where I'm at right now. And it's actually a really fun, I feel like I'm enjoying it more, playing it more like a linear game than not a linear game.
Really?
Because Souls games are sort of like a linear game in an open world. Much like a Wonderlands or a Borderlands. It's just sort of, you can do what you want whenever you want. It's a sandbox. But if you want to play it linear, you can. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm playing it linearly. And I'm having fun while doing it. A lot of fun. I feel like I almost like that challenge and the focus as well. Like being focused while playing a game like that can be hard on the mental, like on the
focus, yeah.
The sort of it can make you a bit exhausted mentally, but it can be almost like working out your mind. That's kind of what a Souls game to me is like, going to the gym, but for your brain.
Right.
That's where I'm at with that. Like I'm just going to the gym, but with my brain. Whereas like some games are more of like a switch off type thing. This is more of like a switch on, but also make me stronger type thing.
Does it still do the thing where if you die at a boss, you'll have to go all the way back to the boss, or can you respawn?
Yeah, so there's bonfires, right? Or they're called graces in this, but if you die, you just respawn at a grace, and hopefully you're quite close. But yes, I agree what you mean. You can be quite far away. Yeah, you respawn, but it's wherever you sat at a grace last. So
okay, because I think in Sekiro you can spawn just outside the boss room again, but I'm not sure on that.
Oh, okay. I can't remember.
But okay, but you're. It sounds to me like for whatever reason you had your first playthrough, and it sounds like you're now playing it with your gloves off, so to speak. With like you're playing it and you're just letting the force flow through you.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I'm sort of letting it flow through me rather than like letting myself be taken under the current type thing,
Right.
Like I'm enjoying the motion rather than trying to struggle against the tide or whatever, I feel like I've had Elden Ring for a while, but I feel like I've only really been playing it properly for the last couple of days.
Wow.
Like I really think people. This is like a really good example of like reviews of like games. You need to play. Sometimes you need to play a game for like tens of hours before you can even then start a new playthrough and then actually enjoy it. And I think that's definitely the case with Souls games. Like if you want to play a Souls game, play it for like minimum 30-40 hours and then start again and then see how you like it. Because you'll probably enjoy it a hell of a lot more. Just because by that point I know it's a massive time sink. And that's, I think, the reason why most people don't tend to care about things that take a long time. But you put in the time and the care, and you'll see, the fruits of your labour. So, that's kind of where I'm at. I just feel like I've gotten to the point now where I remember feeling after like Dark Souls 2 and 3, where I was like, oh, I'm actually pretty decent at the game. Like I actually know what I'm doing, rather than just like a bit of a muddle. But no, I'm really enjoying it. I feel very focused while playing it. So I feel like peaceful almost. It's like almost like a meditative thing. The first 40 hours of that first Magic playthrough, I was frustrated all the time. I was like, oh, I hate this. Like I was really not enjoying it. And then starting again, I was like, oh, okay, I can actually relax now, because there's almost like no repercussions necessarily. Like I know that time is like the main currency in this. It's just like you don't. It doesn't matter if you lose like 5,000 runes. You can make it back easily. So I won't worry about it.
I suppose the fear and the scare factor comes from that fear of losing, right? That most games sort of put into you, right?
Yeah, I feel like that is not a fun thing to have a lot of the time, honestly.
No.
I don't know. I just think once you get over the fear of it, it just makes it enjoyable. I don't know why. Fear to me sometimes can ruin a game.
Oh, definitely.
It's really odd. Definitely. It's a really weird, backwards sort of way of doing it sometimes. But yeah, I'm not a massive fan of that. Yeah.
Definitely.
So that's where I'm at. I'm at peace. I'm enjoying it. But I'll let you know how I get on. I've got a strength build. I'm doing a thing where I eventually want to be able to dual wield like big two-handed swords. Nice. So I currently have the Zweihander or the two-hander.
Like Valhalla.
Yeah, it's very. Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. It's really good. I'm really enjoying it. And I'm also watching a lot of like Twitch streams and podcasts while I'm doing it as well. So I'm sort of like getting a lot done there and there at the same time. So
very good.
I've also been watching a speedrunner try to speedrun the game every day for like the last week and a half as well. So that's quite fun. Like you just learn so much about the game by watching that as well. I think that's also helped. I remember watching a bunch of speedrunners play Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, and that helping like get over the thing of like it's just pixels. They're not going to hurt you, Like it's not going to actually affect you properly. You just got to get over it. I think like people always say get good at the game, but it's not. Just get over it. You'll get good if you get over it.
Right.
That's kind of how I feel.
Get over the loss, yeah.
Yeah.
Speedrunners always make it look so easy, by the way. Like any game they do, they just make it look easy.
But I think if you watch that enough, you'll start to recognize that in yourself. You'll pick up on it, and you'll start to even like, without even realizing it, be like, oh, I beat that boss just like how that speedrunner did. Wow, I might actually be good at this game. And then you start doing that for the rest of the bosses, and you're good. I know there's definitely going to be some bosses in this game where I'm like, oh god, that's going to be difficult. Because I've already, there's one boss I told you before, but it took me like an hour to beat. But now that I've seen people beat it a couple of times, I know how easy it can be. So I just need to get to that point. I think I'm just trying to like over level as well. That's like where I'm kind of at. I need to just like make sure I'm prepared. I think I might have just been a bit under prepared when I first played it as well. Over prepare is my advice. I mean,
most people were probably under prepared, right, when they first.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it is. People just didn't know. You just need to have the knowledge, and you'll be good.
All right, Jake. Well, please take us back to the home screen where we will begin to wrap up the show. Yes. First things first, though. Guess whose reviews time? Yes. So every week, me and or Jay will pick a random game review from a random game media outlet, and we'll pick a review, and we pick 3 quotes from that review, and me and or Jay have got to guess it. This week, I've picked the game in the review. Jay's got to guess it. Jay, are you ready?
I feel like I'm never ready for these, but yeah, go on. I feel like I always do so bad at these.
So.
Yeah.
I'm deciding which quote to start with.
I know, that's always, honestly, that can make or break one of these. The amount of times we've gone and like said, oh, I wish I'd picked the other one first. We do it all the time. Because you don't know what the other person's thinking and what's going to click for them in their head,
It's so true.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go on then.
Like the challenge.
Begin.
Quote number 1.
Okay.
There's a lot of blanks in this, but
that's
me blanking out, alright? The blank is really generous with loot, too, so you'll have plenty of opportunities to shape your character in interesting ways.
Oh, come on. There's like an infinite amount of games where that is viable as a quote. Loot. I'm going to go Diablo 3.
Great guess. Not correct.
Damn. Of course it's a great guess. I have a feeling I know what this is now, but go on.
Quote number 2.
Yeah.
The blank delivers a whole lot of that, starting with its 4 new playable characters and their positively nutty skill trees. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is a hard one. It's extremely vague.
It is vague. It is.
So Diablo actually had, I think, 4 initial.
That's right. That's right.
The only other game I can think of that's, because if I'm in the right ballpark, I think you might be thinking Torchlight. But I don't know if Torchlight had 4 characters. I think it only had 3.
I will give you that it's not Torchlight.
Oh, great. 4 classes with loot. I mean, other than Borderlands. I mean, Borderlands will have 4 classes. So maybe I'll just go with the Borderlands. I'm going to go pre-sequel.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Correct! Holy shit! How does he do it?
That was the most vague. That was the most vague. Oh my god.
That's a really good guess, Jay. That's a really good guess. Really good guess. The last quote was, the early hours of the moon were particularly trying since everything is incredibly spread out and every low gravity jump takes seemingly forever.
Yeah, that would have given it to me, definitely. But that was such a weird thing. That just came out of like almost nowhere. Do you know what made me think of pre-sequel? I was thinking Nick probably went through my achievement list and went, right, what has he played that is going to make this sound more interesting and more like he probably knows what he's talking about. And knowing, I just sort of felt like I read you like a book just then. I was like, Nick's just so obvious sometimes.
Jay, do you know what the scores are? Are you 2 ahead
of me?
Oh,
let me have a look.
Or 3 ahead of me or something.
Hang on. Let me have a look.
Hang on. Hang on.
Technically, I just got 2 points, right? So it's 33 to 31.
30-31.
33 to 31.
I'm on 31, right?
Yeah. So I'm now ahead, but
okay. All right. Well, we'll finish with this quote, Jay. Which is from Wonderlands, apparently. Though I don't know who says it.
Okay, I'll probably be able to tell you.
Why sometimes I've believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast.
What?
That's it. That's
okay.
It. I wanted to sprinkle in a bit of imagination and to sprinkle in what we're capable of even before we have breakfast.
Okay, yeah, and hopefully some new IPs.
And hopefully some new IPs. Yeah, but Jay, saying that, you're going to buy Borderlands 4, you're going to buy the next Assassin's Creed.
True. But they'll probably be different from the last one. By enough.
I mean,
I feel like the last two Tomb Raider games were just the same game. Were they not?
I have to disagree with you there.
No, same game.
I mean, and you're going to be like Gears 4, Gears 5, same game. I'll say to you, Jay, Dirt 3, Dirt 4, same fucking game.
I've never played
Forza Horizon 4.
I've never played Gears 4 and 5, so I can't comment. I don't think. Yeah,
Alright, let's finish up. Jay, anything else you want to talk about this week?
No, I think that's it for now.
Yeah?
I'm all good, yeah.
Alright. Well, don't worry, because you'll have another therapy session tomorrow with Wonderlands.
Yay, finally, I can actually get some stuff off my chest.
Oh my god, Jay, we have so much to talk about with this game.
Yeah, I'm actually more intrigued to hear what you say, because to me, you're the Borderlands guy, so.
Ridiculous.
I know.
Well, before we go, Jay, I just thought I'd let you know on air, or on recording, I should say.
On air.
Jay, I don't know what it is, bro. 7 Remake has done something to me. Right?
Yeah, probably, because of how much of a good game it is.
Oh my god. So I've started watching Maximilian's full-on playthrough through it, right?
Yeah.
Like his first original playthrough.
Yes.
Because I fancied
watching his PC one or his PlayStation one?
No, his PlayStation one.
Okay, yeah, so his first one, yeah.
And I just like I get what you're saying, right? Like we've talked about this. When you finish a game, it should almost leave you wanting more. Like that should be the, because like you'll leave it with good thoughts, right? And if I played hard mode, that is not how I would leave it. I would leave it like how I left Red Dead 2, where I just would hate thinking about it. But there's just something about watching 7 Remake and listening to the music and stuff. I just can't. It's just so good.
To me, there's 2 ways to look at it. There's like this level of like all the Final Fantasy quality, and then there's everything else. Final Fantasy is the pinnacle of gaming quality to me. Pinnacle. There's nothing above it. It's Final Fantasy and then everything else. So yes, I agree with you.
Oh, I totally see that.
Final Fantasy is like right? Final Fantasy 13. I think is my favorite game of all time. It's number 1 currently.
But like, it is everything we want, right? Like, it's an RPG, it's anime,
the music,
the
characters, the story, the gameplay, the mechanics,
right?
Everything.
Right.
Everything is 10 out of 10. There is no 9.9 out of 10. It's all 10 out of 10. It's perfect. To me, Final Fantasy is just perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. Even if there might be the little thing here or there where it's kind of like, I'd rather not, eventually you'll be like, oh, I'm glad they actually did that. Because it helped, or it made me like this particular mechanic more, or whatever it might be.
All right, Jay. Well, thank you very much. I will speak to you tomorrow.
Yes.
And this will go up whenever. So
yeah. Who cares?
Have a good time wherever you guys are. Bye.
Bye.